her mother is Catholic and her dad was agnostic. She describes him as a fervent follower of Carl Sagan. So she'll be sharing her journey exploring different faiths and her approach to answering questions about religion and spirituality.
Well, sensitive topics, religion and politics.
I know. That's
Does it have me?
Yeah.
Okay, I have to write some notes here. Okay, so I'd like to start off by briefly exploring the definition of the word religion. So out of curiosity, I consulted 3 sources for this definition, and I have 3 sources, and one of them was a 1961 Merriam-Webster dictionary. Okay, and the second one was my 1987 World Book Encyclopedia collection, and the third one was the Internet Dictionary of today. So the 61 Merriam-Webster dictionary has 2 main definitions for the term religion. Definition 1A, it says the service and worship of God, or the supernatural. And definition 1B, commitment or devotion to religious faith or observation. Then the Encyclopedia of 1987, so I was 17 at the time, it read, no simple definition can describe the numerous religions in the world. For many people, religion is an organized system of beliefs, ceremonies, practices, and worship centered on one supreme God or deity. Hold on, I'm a Spanish teacher, so sometimes I get the English one. For many others, religion involves a number of gods or deities. And that was for the encyclopedia. And then the internet definition had 3. It said, the first is belief in and worship of a superhuman controlling power, especially a personal god or gods, and it gave an example. And it said, the sentence was, ideas about the relationship between science and religion. And then interestingly, it was followed by 2 sub-definitions, the first of which it says, a particular system of faith and worship, sentence example, the world's greatest religions. And interestingly, it says, here's a second sub-definition offered, a pursuit or interest to which someone ascribes supreme importance. Sample, consumerism is the new religion. So as we can see, the definition of religion can vary across time. Specifically here was 61 to 2022. Just as types of believers can vary throughout time or across time. And there are believers who, like from birth to their last day on this earth, they follow without question the religion into which they were born. Others may, mid-course in their lives, abruptly switch beliefs, perhaps due to a personal experience or experiences, or maybe due to a compulsion by marriage. And there are others like me who were born into a religion, in my case, half Catholicism, and I'll explain why I say half. Yet throughout their lives, they observe, they question, they search, they adopt, they tweak, they modify their beliefs while on this journey on this planet, steadily forming and solidifying a hodgepodge of ideas that in itself would constitute its own set of belief, maybe a religion. So I guess I can say my religion is like a build your own, kind of like a Chipotle, right? Or a glazed pizza of religion. So I was born Catholic, and as you may know, Hispanics are 80%, most Hispanics, at least for me, most Hispanics in the world, and in my case, 80% of my ancestors, who since 1517 lived in Mexico, came from Spain, and in Spain they were Catholics. And I say 80% because 20% is indigenous. So I have Native American. And Native American has their religion per se too. So I don't know much about it, but I know that in my grandmother's side and great-grandmother and great-great-grandmother, they had what was called practicing of curandismo. So they were curanderas, which are kind of like spiritual healers and clairvoyants. So there was a little bit of that incorporated, but I won't get into detail. But I was baptized as a baby, and as you may know, when you're a Catholic, you go to the church and they put you go through a process. I don't remember, I was a baby, but they give you the holy water, and a priest anoints the baby with the holy water. So technically I'm Catholic. But I'm also from a father who was agnostic. He was a fervent, as Ritu said, he was a fervent lover of astronomy. And so I have memories when I was a child. We used to watch Cosmos. I don't know if any of you know the Cosmos series. Before it was DeGrasse, it was with Carl Sagan. And every week we'd be on PBS and we'd watch it, and he would passionately talk to me about what Mr. Sagan would say. And he used to try to explain to me the concept of light, the distance and light years. That light travels 186,000 miles per second, and that concept of how long it would take to cross the universe, and it just really doesn't end pretty much. And how time and distance go hand in hand. And that concept it was hard for a child to understand that. But my mind was always awash in these extraordinary facts about the universe. And so naturally I was going to question these Catholic teachings. So for example, back in the day, I don't know if they still do it, but on Sundays, they'd have during the Easter period, they play the movie The Ten Commandments. That was in the 1950s. Actually, it was made in 1956. And on Sundays, they would show this movie. And I'd watch this movie, and there's a story, and it's about Moses, and Moses was the man who was a chosen one, and took his people. He rescued them from slavery from Egypt, and helped them escape. And there was one scene in this movie where they're all escaping, and they're being chased by the Romans in chariots, and they get to the sea, the edge of the sea. They can't cross, right? They're going to face certain death, and he asks God, please part the sea, and the sea parts, right? So I was thinking, how is this possible? The special effects were really fantastic, but my logic was saying, you can't accept this story. How's the water going to separate like that? Another example is my left brain wrestling with my right brain of blind faith. When I say right brain of blind faith, my faith, I think that's what religion is about. But as I had said, I'm all over the place with that. But the one example of my two parts of my brain of me wrestling with myself is the concept, for example, of translation. I never could, as a child, I always think about the sacred scripts of the Bible, of anything. How do we know that where was it? I would ask myself, where was it? When was it found? How do we know when it was found? It was preserved and carried forward. How do we know that what the word is, like if I'm reading the Bible now in Spanish or in English, that there was no loss in translation? Just these questions that I've always had. And I haven't the answers to them, but they're questions. So even though I wasn't, I was taught to appreciate both the teachings of the Bible and of Carl Sagan's. I've always appreciated both. But even though I can say right now, I don't understand this Bible. These things, how could this possibly be true that he parted the sea? But yet, I wear a cross. So I have a cross. This cross is actually from Iran, but it's a cross that my sister gave to me. So there's roots that I have that are deeply Catholic that I can't extricate them. So I was born with this. And it's probably just due to, just generations of Catholicism in our family. So no matter how much one professes an alternative belief, there might be certain things that will stay with us for a lifetime. I have a rosary hanging outside of my room. So I suppose my religious status can now be summed up by one sweeping glance of my home office. So I have, a Virgin Mary on one shelf, and on the other shelf I have a book about the teachings of Buddha. I have a Quran. I have a Bible of Testigos de Jehová, the Jehovah's Witness. So I explore. So these are all these things. This is who I feel that I am. That would sum me up right now. So, throughout my life, like most people, like you all, perhaps, I've been searching answers to questions to which heretofore, even till now, I don't have the answer. I think all of us, in one form or another, we search and question through our lives. Ultimately, we ask ourselves, we try to find the answer is, with the answer where there's no explanation, at least I don't know. Like, where do we go when we die? Is it really like the lights go out when we leave this planet? Is it gone? Or as atheists would say, we become nothing? They believe in nothing. What is that? Because nothing is something. If there's an eternal heaven, how can something be forever? How can it be eternal? Why does God allow there to be so much suffering in this world? Why do some bad people go unpunished? Yet some good people, they have to endure torturous lives. I don't know the answers to these things. I ask myself. So, we ask ourselves these questions, and some people have solid beliefs. They've come to terms with it, and they live their lives having an answer. And there are people like myself who continue to question, steadily try to continue to develop their belief system. And for now, my humble beliefs is that, this is all I can say, this is my humble belief, is that everything, the whole universe, everything, this is what I see, everything, animals, insects, plants, flowers, worms, protozoa, everything that reacts, that's God, that's to me. And everything in the universe, time, now, yesterday, tomorrow, everything is God. It's just kind of hard to wrap my mind around that, right? Because we're limited by our senses. I know there's a sixth sense, I know there's a seventh sense, I know there's an eighth sense, but I don't know how to tap into that. I don't know. There's something else out there, but I don't know. But, so regardless of what degree of certainty I achieve and how solid my belief system is, what I do know, the concept of the power of love and kindness towards anything living, Love and kindness, while it cannot be seen, it can be felt, and it's very prevalent. An example is how we enter a room when we feel good vibes, and sometimes we go someplace when we feel some negative vibes. With those feelings, those are energy. I can't give you a scientific backup, but it's something, and it exists. And this energy is emitted by all living things, I think. And I think when we are kind, or if we're the opposite, those energies are dispersed. And if they're kind, I hope they circulate and they recycle. But this is what I believe. And so I try to conduct my life in abiding by this belief. And for now, even this may all be that all I have, but I'm convinced that one can never err at the sight of love. So, in closing, one of the things I have on my bucket list is to read all the religious texts of the most popular religions in the world. So, right now, I started with the Bible because as a child, we would read the Bible, but not in its entirety, we'd read pieces. So last year I started with the New Testament, and then the Old New Testament is about Jesus, and the Old Testament is Moses before Jesus. So I'm doing both simultaneously. And there was one I found, in the New Testament is Corinthians. I don't know if anybody know about Corinthians. It's the most beautiful piece, and I want to share with you. It's about love. And it says, if I speak in the tongues of men or of angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all the mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have faith that can move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardship, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres, love never fails. There's a little bit more, I'm going to skip the part, but I'm going to go to the end of this, and it says, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child, when I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. For now we see only a reflection as in a mirror, then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I'm fully known. And now these three remain, faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these is love. That's all I have.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I love right from the start when you said Chipotle of religions. Do we have any questions? We'll figure out the mic situation. Do we have any questions first? Deborah?
Maybe I can ask. In John, Jesus says that I'm the only way and the truth to the Father God or the God. So how do you interpret that? Or where do Mahatma Gandhi stand, who is not baptized?
When I read the Bible as an observer, not as a self-considered follower of Christianity. So I can only surmise as somebody on the outside. Because I know that a lot of the things are hyperbole, extremes, and many religious tricks.
I don't think he meant follow Jesus literally. I meant follow his principles and his teachings, and that's the way. So
And there we have interpretation.
Yeah, so not that him as a person, but more his philosophy and his thoughts. So you can be Gandhi and not be baptized, but if you follow his teaching, you will go to heaven. That's my opinion.
Yeah, thank you so
Okay.
much.
Okay.
Thank you.
So our next